Hello, welcome to a new video. In this one I will be showing you everything that I currently have. I am 1 month in on a 3-month bike tour through Europe. I'll be going through everything and also showing you what I found to be useful and what is not so useful. So without any more talking, let's get straight in. Okay, where should we start? Let's start at the back here. We'll go into this bag here. It's an Oertli bag and completely waterproof, really big, really good. I have attached it with one strap, with this long strap here. This just ties all the way around underneath through there, and it clips together quite nicely like that. There's also a strap here, so it's attached to the post, so not very many attachments at all there. In fact, let's take it off and I can show you properly. Right, let's see what we have inside. So to start with, I'll just be showing you everything that I have, and then after I can go into more detail about whether I find it useful or not. Okay, here is my wash bag, so I will just very quickly put this here and I can show you what is inside. So we have soap in here, standard soap. Yeah, like I said, I won't go into much detail for now. Deodorant, roll-on, toothpaste, toothbrush, some travel soap, cotton buds, tea tree, some earplugs to sleep at night, haven't used them yet, a razor for shaving, some rather rusty looking nail clippers, floss, and that is it. Okay, so not too much in there. Okay, moving on. Here we have my fleece. It's a really nice running fleece. Light, warm, tight, great. Now we have my solar panels. This is a bag. I use this to go shopping. I keep my passport in it permanently. There's also a cable in there which I never use. I have a sock and another sock. My cable lock. Toilet paper. Another toilet roll. A thermal bag for insulating cold food or hot food. Some thermal merino wool leg warmers. A bag which I'm yet to use. I picked this up at a campsite. Not sure whether I'll actually use it, but I think it's worth taking just in case. Some bins don't like you just putting in loose waste. And another pair of socks. Socks shouldn't really be in here. And we also have a lighter in there as well. Again, shouldn't be in there. Okay, so I don't keep much stuff in this bag. It's usually just spare storage space. So for food, mainly. I have a few bits in there. I could probably put all of this into these panniers. I will now go into this pannier here. There's this. I'll go into that in a sec. As well as that. Right, okay, this is everything. Standard 2-man tent, although it's kind of 1.5 or one of me. In here we have a pillow, and in here we have a roll mat. I'll maybe get those out later, but for now, that is that. This is a stuff sack for my sleeping bag. The original one sort of broke, so I bought a replacement. It's not quite the right fit, but it does the job. I was happy just to stuff a sleeping bag straight into the pannier next to the tent, but sometimes if things got a bit wet, it didn't really help the situation, and the sleeping bag often got very wet, so that's also good for that. And this is the sleeping bag. Again, it's just a sleeping bag, but yes, go into more detail into that later. Okay, that's that pannier, and this is the last pannier. Last being 2 out of 2. We have a microfiber towel, bag of clothes, I'll go into that in a second, a box full of spares, I am standing in a bad position, again I'll go into that in a second, a down jacket, a pot set, I'll go into that shortly, gas canister, that is an easy click camping gas one. This is all my bike maintenance and, you know, mechanical stuff. A plastic bag, a water filtration kit. Oh, I could have done with using this not so long ago. Haven't used it yet, hard to know when to use it, and I don't really want to use it because if I do, it could mean that the water has viruses in any way which this won't clean. So rather not use it, I'd rather just drink clean water. A chopping board, still a bit wet. A wind protector for the stove. And that is it. So again, not too much stuff in there. I will now just go through some of these containers which I haven't shown you in detail. First up in the bag of clothes is this smaller stuff sack which I bought at the same time as the larger one for the sleeping bag, and this contains my dirty washing. I won't show you all my clothes, but if you like I can quickly tell you what I have. I have 2 of these light merino wool tops and a longer sleeve one of the same sort of style, same material. I have 1 fleece, I have 1 down jacket, I have 2 pairs of black shorts, these ones here. I have 2 pairs of socks like these, they're the ones I use most of the time. I have a pair of merino wool socks which are slightly thicker, slightly longer, and I have a pair of thick socks as well as 2 pairs of ankle socks which you saw earlier, a black and a white pair. I have a pair of swimming trunks, I have 1 pair of boxers, I have 3 pairs of Endura cycling shorts, and I have 1 pair of another type of cycling shorts which I haven't actually worn yet. It's a sort of a softer material. And that is all of the clothes I have brought with me. Okay, now we will go into my pot and pan set. It consists of a lid, a camping gas stove, a wooden spatula. This is used for cleaning products, a kitchen sink, a large pot for boiling pasta, and a smaller pan for frying vegetables or meat. I will now show you what is in this bag here. This is my bike maintenance bag. Crikey, we've got a lot of stuff in there. Okay, first thing, we have some glue. We have spare spokes, 2 of them. 1 bungee. A strap for a bag, I think that's my rear bag. A bike pump. Cable ties. Dry lube. First time I've used dry lube and it didn't work very well. It didn't last very long at all, so I'm going to stick to the wet one. And then in here we have tyre levers, 2 spanners. Show you one of them. This is a 10mm and the other one is an 8mm. A chair. This is a Topeak chair. This is a Topeak chain wear indicator and also a chain clip if the chain breaks. In here, if you can see, we also have a chain brake tool. Okay, that's everything in here. Spare inner tube, haven't needed that yet. A spare strap, that's the equivalent of one to secure my orb lever bag to the bike. This is my puncture repair kit and some spares as well in here. Another spare one of these, forgot the name. Okay, that is everything in here. I won't go into detail about whether I find all this useful or not, it's pretty self-explanatory. I haven't used most of it. I've used the pump a couple of times, but yeah, apart from that, not much at all. So I'll put all this back. Okay, I will now go into my box of spares. We have some face masks, spare sunglasses, a cloth for cleaning sunglasses, don't really know why I have that, a spare strap. This sort of strap would clip the Ortlieb bag to the seat post or just for any other purpose. We have spare nuts, bolts, washers, screws, you name it, is all in here. If anything comes loose or if I need to replace anything, it'll be in this bag. Some safety pins, a spare lock. What are these called? Carbiners, something like that. I use these to secure the solar panels to the panniers, so I have a few spares in case I lose them. A spare GoPro screw. A spare chain. This is quite important to take. I will be switching chains very shortly because my current chain is a bit old now. Old as in worn. I've only had it a few months, but still. A spare inner tube. Another GoPro screw. A spare razor head. A spare USB-C cable. I have loads of these now. And a spare lightning cable. And a spare rear bike light strap. We also have some water purification tablets in here. A SIM card. The packaging got wet, but I think the SIM card has survived. And some Allen keys in there. So that is everything for the spare box. I won't go into whether I find it useful or not. Obviously, it just is what it is. Okay, I'll put all this away now. That is it for the rear panniers and top bag. I will now move on to the front section. I have 3 water bottles there. One is slightly larger than the other 2. I have 2, well, what can you call them? Dry bags, which I've mounted onto the front fork. So yeah, let's go right into these. Okay, in this first one we just have 3 things. We have a med bag. This just has all the standard things in: anti-sand, plasters, a pair of scissors, bandages, that sort of thing, arnica. Here we have a mosquito head net. I have never needed anything from these 2 bags a month in. This I've used a lot. These are my waterproof overshoes. They're super good. Not the most effective after a long time cycling, but they still keep out a lot of water for a good amount of time. In this next bag we have my raincoat and some waterproof over trousers. They're the 2 side bags done. We can now go to the top tube frame bag, whatever you like to call it. In here we have a spork, my main lock, headphones, mouth mount as opposed to the usual mini extension pole mount, some paracetamol, my singular glove because the other one was lost, lip seal or lip balm, and some UV protected lip balm. Pen knife, really good, lots of features on there. I can go through them later if you like. And some more paracetamol. Right, and that is it for that bag. Going into the front bag, we have some bread. That was my lunch yesterday, had it for breakfast, and it will be my lunch today. So it's lasted me quite a long time. This is just where I keep things that can be accessed easily. All of my charging cables, I'll go through those later. Lots of energy bars which are starting to melt because they're in the sun, so I may need to move those. These are really good, they were 12p each. Tissues, spare battery pack because my main one got stolen. I will buy a new one soon, but this one actually is very good, but more on that later. Hand sanitizer and sun cream, nuts, a rag to clean my chain, and some lube, and a toothbrush in there somewhere to help with the cleaning of the chain. My card holder and some cash. A bit of string. We have some euros here. And then a few pegs here at the bottom. And something which came off my handlebar. The other holders I have are in here. Have my snood. These were really good, by the way. They cost £5 for two, and they're absolutely perfect. In this one I have some sunglasses and a bike seat cover. And if I'm not mistaken, that is absolutely everything. I am mistaken, there's a little bit more. This is broken, so I use this as a bin. Really handy. I just put things in that I don't want anymore, and then I put it into a bin when I come across one. Perfect. This other one I kind of wish was the same. Oops. I don't know why I put everything precariously balanced on my saddle. It's not waterproof. Oh god. Oh, everything's falling off the bloody saddle. Just stay there. Okay. In here we have, let's have a look, shall we? Some aerial pods. Olive oil. Salt. Matches. And lots of bags and clips. Okay, that is now absolutely everything. I don't have a huge amount of stuff, despite the bike still being very heavy. Okay, good. I will now go into everything and tell you if it is useful or not. For me, it's a personal opinion. Okay, so let's get straight into that then. Let's start in the same order as we started in. This bag here, it is a thermal bag. I don't know how effective it is. It will probably keep things colder for perhaps an extra hour or so, maybe less. It's a nice Tour de France bag, and well, I just quite like it. It's not completely necessary, but you know, it's nice having. Toilet roll, I haven't used too much of this recently. In fact, really, I only really used this in France when I did a lot of wild camping and, you could say, wild poos. Sorry if that's too graphic. I didn't really do any of this at all in Switzerland, I think maybe once, and I've barely done it since. I don't particularly like doing that sort of stuff. Just feel like it's kind of littering in a way, even though everything is decompostable. But some campsites don't have toilet paper, so it's always useful to have. These thermal merino wool leg warmers have been incredible. They keep your legs warm really easily, and you can slide them on and off whenever you like. So 10 out of 10 for those. Ankle socks, probably recommend against. I guess you can. I have them for a reason of having them, but they're not great for cycling. But anyway, don't matter. Bag, yep. Fleece, yep, great. This lock is imperative for bike touring. Definitely recommend getting one of these, because you don't want to be carrying a heavy D-lock around with you. So what you should do is have a cable lock like this, and then get a small padlock to lock up your bike. It won't be fully secure. I'm sure anyone could easily break in, but it's better than nothing, and it's super light. So it's definitely the way to go. Toiletries, kind of hard to say really. Just the bare minimum is fine. I originally started off with a whole bottle of shampoo, a whole bottle of shower gel, and a bar of soap, and travel soap. You really don't need all of that. Just a little bottle of both is fine. Depends what sort of touring you're doing. I'm staying with a lot of people, so there's often nice shampoo available. And for my hair, I quite like to have nice shampoo. But yeah, really the minimum is completely fine. Most things I have here, I do intend to keep. I don't intend of throwing away many things at all. I did that a little while ago. Episode 10. My bag for shopping. Solar panels, yes, these are incredible. You definitely need these. Super good. Haven't actually used them a whole lot this holiday or trip, but I've still definitely needed them a lot. I use them much more on my French trip, just because if you stay at campsites, you can always charge your batteries there or at cafes, but sometimes you won't have that, and so you definitely need something else. And then it doesn't weigh too much. It's quite light, and they're so effective. It can charge a battery back up in a day. It's the same rate as what you get from a main supply when it's, you know, in this sort of sunniness, it will charge up instantly. Microfiber towel, I love these. Super light, dry super fast, and perfect for bike touring. This wind shield, it's quite heavy. I haven't really used it that often, so if you look at weight per use ratio, probably not very good, but in case it's really windy, it's kind of imperative, because otherwise you won't be able to do any cooking on the stove. I'm trying to be as light as I can, so if I was to remove stuff, it would definitely be that. I would even be tempted not to do any cooking on the stove at all, but I think that's kind of me wanting to go towards more ultra cycling. You know, get there as fast as you can. For a more luxurious holiday, I keep calling it a holiday, it kind of is really, like this is kind of a holiday, then it's fine, it doesn't really matter too much. Plastic bag, that can be good. It's sort of semi-waterproof, so it can keep your wet stuff in, or anything you want really. Obviously doesn't weigh anything. Water filtration system, yep, I haven't actually used it yet, so I can't really make a comment, but it doesn't weigh much, and if I used it when I got really ill, it obviously would have saved me a lot of hassle. But things work out for the best, so that's fine. Now, my pot and pan set. Really impressed with this. It wasn't very expensive, it was about £10. You get a nice pan here for frying stuff, and this here, it says 0.75 litres, so it's probably about a whole litre. I could measure it, but can't be bothered. It's big enough, it's not huge, it's definitely one person size, and if I'm having a large meal, I may sometimes wish I had a bit more space, but you know, I cooked dinner last night and it served me for dinner and lunch today, and it just about fitted. So you could argue it's for two person, but for a person who likes to eat a lot of food, just about one. This is really good. It's a scouring pad sort of thing. It goes all soft when you put water on it. Camping gas stove, yep, no problems with that, really good. Wooden spatula, really good, and the lid. This thing came off, so I had to glue it back together. Kitchen sink, let's get this out. Now, I haven't used this all that often, maybe about on 5 occasions, but it's 5 litres and it is super useful. You fill it out with water and it can hold its own self, so it will just balance like that with loads of water inside. I won't do a full review of it, there's plenty of reviews on YouTube, but very happy with it, and when I do need it, it's great. Also doesn't weigh anything, so not a problem to take with me. And somehow, there you go, you fold it back like that, put it in there. I've used it for washing clothes, as you probably saw in one of the first few episodes. Mainly that. You can probably wash up your dishes, but I don't tend to do much cooking when I'm wild camping. I just do it whilst I'm at campsites and there's normally sinks available there. Come on! Next up we have my down jacket. Folds up into a nice small pouch. Really, really good. Could not be happier with this. It's so warm, so light. That's the main two features. Can't get it wet, but that's okay, I haven't got it wet yet. So I love this, super good. It's about £60, not too expensive. Chopping board, I was gonna go for a really lightweight one, but this one is sturdy, can't complain. Could be a bit bigger, but then you have more weight, so compromise. Camping gas, yep, that's all fine. Box of spares, quite heavy this. Now, we move on to all of this stuff, which I just keep binning and getting rid of because I've never used these. It's worth having. It is worth having, I just don't like having them for some reason. Salt, you don't need very much salt. In fact, I rarely salt my pasta now. It's just not worth it. There's such a small difference in taste when you're camping. And it takes up weight, so just a very small little bit. It's completely fine. At the start I had filled up to the top and it was so heavy and so unnecessary. Olive oil, again this was completely full, but I chucked out a lot. Just don't need that much. It is quite useful to have though. I'd recommend having a little bit for your vegetables when you cook them. And this big box, I mean, yeah, I think I could improve there. Tent is very good, but it does allow water in from time to time. One time it came up from the bottom, as you saw in the last few videos ago, which isn't ideal. It's also quite heavy. It's very light for a tent. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't weigh much at all, but if you're trying to go very light, again with the idea of ultra cycling and being as light as you can, a bivy sack would be more ideal. But maybe I'm being too harsh. It's a really good tent, I really like it. It's quite spacious inside because it's for 2 people. Good tent. Very good sleeping bag too. Pillow, ah yes, I bought this in France as well. Great pillow. I would really recommend getting a pillow. It's so comfy, a bit dirty and a bit wet. It's so comfy, I really like it. I would definitely recommend getting a pillow. If you don't get a pillow, you have to use your coat or some clothes, and I don't really see the point. Yeah, you can do, but it doesn't weigh anything, it doesn't take up any space, it costs £10. There is absolutely no disadvantage to having it, and it just massively improves the quality of your sleep. Having clothes as a pillow, there are some disadvantages to it, I won't lie, and if you just eradicate those, great. One thing I forgot to leave a comment on was my roll mat. I do really like this roll mat. It doesn't weigh a single thing, and it does give a lot of protection from the underground. However, it is kind of broken. I've tried many times to fix it with glue, but there's a hole in it, so all the air just comes straight back out. But I mean, if I open it, you can hear air going inside, and that's because naturally it can hold some air, so it does give some sort of protection, even though it is a little bit broken. I would recommend this because 2 reasons. One, stops a lot of the cold air coming up from the bottom. Actually 3 reasons. Also stops some damp coming up with my tent if it's really wet or there's a lot of condensation. Things can get wet, so it's just another layer to protect you from the wet. And obviously the most important reason is that it does give a lot of softness to a hard ground. I would get another one, but sometimes it kind of does the job fine, even though it is a little bit broken. Right, that's all of that stuff done. Wow, this stuff. Ugh, God. Okay. Paracetamol, excellent. A singular glove, not so convenient. That's good, but it's not that sunny anymore, so I don't really need it. That's very good, but it's personal preference. Headphones, I have 2 headphones. I have AirPods and I have these. Both is useful. You probably don't need AirPods, and actually no, you probably do, because you can't charge your phone whilst having these plugged in. So it's quite useful to have both. These are better because I don't use battery, but AirPods are obviously great. This spork has been incredible, really good, and it has a nice little clip here so that it won't move, so you can just eat like that. Really good, love it. This is the padlock, really good. Mouth mount again, really good. Snood, love having a snood. Ugh, but it's clean. Keeps you really warm. You could have a hat, you could have a balaclava sort of hat, anything really. They all do the same job. You lose a lot of heat through your head, so it's really important to have something like that. Sunglasses are great, and I definitely recommend having a seat cover, depending on your saddle, but probably best to cover it up anyway. Waterproofs, good idea to have a full set of waterproofs. You don't want to be getting wet, definitely don't. And in here, I won't get it out, but I also have I will get it out because it's wet, cover. That's to go over this bag and this, so that all keeps dry in the rain when I'm not riding the bike. That's overnight. And I also have this here, which goes round my ankle to keep my waterproof trousers tucked in so it doesn't get caught in the chain. A bit wet. There is also a waterproof bag under there which goes over the bag whilst I'm cycling, but it doesn't really go around the whole way, so not that effective. Wahoo device, yeah, perfect. Had a few problems, but not that many, so really good. Oh, I'll go into my cables. I have a lighter, like 3 or 4 USB-C cables, AirPods, a USB to micro USB cable, and a lightning cable. All very useful. tissues, very useful. I think that's about everything. Sorry if it felt rushed. I kind of wanted to get it all done as quickly as I could. Don't know how long it's going to be, but I think that is about everything. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I will answer all of them. Okay, right, well, thank you for watching and goodbye.